Who likes coffee? Who knows one of the best ways that you can balance your neurotransmitters and keep coffee from gradually depleting some of those excitatory neurotransmitters and keeping you from doing things like sleeping, napping, relaxing, or avoiding that post cup of coffee crash? What's something you could add to coffee? It's theanine. Theanine, T-H-E-A-N-I-N-E. You add about 100 milligrams of that to a cup of coffee, and it helps to balance your neurotransmitters and keep you from getting that jitteriness from coffee, and also keeps coffee from imbalancing your neurotransmitters. So 100 milligrams of theanine.
Yes, theanine. Did you actually know where theanine was discovered? Theanine was the first time seen and extracted from a gyokuro, so a green tea leaf, in Japan in 1994. Hello everybody, this is Oliver from Neo, and my mission is to introduce you into Japanese organic green tea. And today the topic is theanine. So what you saw in the video before is actually adding theanine to your coffee might be an option, but you can also get it from a natural source, and this natural source is called green tea. Theanine has in the past or is also in constant research, and theanine has positive effects, especially on the mind, on the brain, in relation or in combination with caffeine, which is then absorbed through the intestines. And it is said that theanine can promote your brain functions, it can promote your concentration level, it also can promote the metabolism, or just a simple thing is it can have a positive effect on your blood pressure. So what is also very, very important, what is pretty cool about theanine as well, and this is also for the ones out there who like maybe kind of cakes or even candy or anything with matcha, made out of matcha, theanine is quite heat resistant. So it's one of the nutrients of green tea, which is actually quite heat stable. So you will always have more or less the same amount of theanine in your green tea. So what actually theanine is, or where is theanine important in terms of the green tea, and especially for the taste, it has a huge effect. L-theanine can be up to 50% of the whole amino acid content of green tea, so it is the most important amino acid in the green tea leaves, and green tea is also one of the richest sources of L-theanine in nature. And in taste-wise, what or where it can have the most effect is really on the sweet side or the savory side. The fifth taste sense is called umami, and it has been proven that L-theanine is triggering the most the umami flavor profile in your mouth. So a little bit this savory, this kind of sweet savoriness of a green tea is very important when you drink green tea. And the ones which actually have the most of theanine, or the highest concentration of theanine, the teas, these are the shaded green teas, and for this I brought with me 2 teas, and these are the ones with the highest concentration of L-theanine in them, and this is the matcha, and on the other hand the gyokuro. So a long shaded green tea, both of them over 20 days. They can be shaded up to 28 or even 30 days, and then the concentration of theanine is at the highest. When we compare these 2 teas, we can say that the L-theanine concentration on the gram of green tea is the highest. So when we talk about matcha, there we have the number 1 per gram. So here we are at 2,200 milligrams of L-theanine on 100 grams of tea, and the other one is then gyokuro, is around 1,400 to 1,500 milligrams of L-theanine on 100 grams. But here we shouldn't be too fast, because what is important is that for matcha normally you take 2 grams of tea just to do a normal matcha. Meanwhile, for normal gyokuro you use more than the double of this. So you are at around 5 grams. So if we have this 2200 versus this 1400, when we double the gyokuro, we are getting even over the level of matcha. So it really also depends how much of tea you're using to make your brew, to make your green tea. So it's not directly the highest concentration, but if you just want to go for the highest concentration, definitely matcha is the case. But compared on the same level, how you drink the tea, there matcha and gyokuro are very, very similar. So when we go a little bit more into the tea world, also we compare maybe green tea with other teas. So when we have white tea, for example, white tea is also a tea which has a lot of different amino acids in it, and it also has a very, very high concentration of L-theanine. So green tea and white tea, both of them on a very high level. When you go a little bit further on oolong, pu'er, or even black tea, these tea tend to have, as they're fermented, a much lower level of L-theanine. With black tea, we talk about 50 to 70 percent of less L-theanine in these teas. So here we definitely have a difference of the L-theanine level. So if you want to really go and take advantage of L-theanine, really try to go for a white tea, try to go for a high quality green tea, then you definitely do the right thing. And on the other hand, what is also important is L-theanine in the green tea can be varied throughout the year. And the one also with the most amount, or the highest amount of L-theanine, is always the first harvest. And for this, I brought also an example here of matcha. So we have here the first harvest matcha, and on the other hand, we have a second harvest, or a mix between second and third harvest matcha. And you can already see from the difference in color of these two matchas that actually the first harvest matcha is much brighter, much stronger, much more intense in its green, while the second harvest matcha or third harvest matcha really goes into direction of a little bit of yellow. And what is important here is that we are talking about 3 times the amount of L-theanine from the first harvest to the third harvest. So often when you go to a coffee shop, or when you have also a piece of cake with matcha, not the highest quality matcha is used for these cakes. So there we often have the amino acid level of 1/3 of the highest concentration. So if you want to go really for a high by ceremonial first harvest matcha, this is very important. But now I want to dive a little bit into the taste profile of a green tea, and for this I want to do a green tea brew. So we're gonna stick with the gyokuro, and we're just gonna have a brewing of this tea here. Good, very simple. You just take the leaves, 5 grams with about 150 milliliters of water, and then you're gonna leave it in for 2 minutes, and we're just gonna wait for the tea to brew. Good, we're done here. So after 2 minutes, the tea is ready, and now we're just gonna pour tea in here. Voila. So you can see that the tea is a little bit of milk, a little bit of milky kind of a texture. This is mainly also driven by the essential oils which are in the tea. And you can see that we have here a very beautiful kind of slightly jade green color of the tea. This is a Yabukita Gyokuro. Yabukita, the most used cultivar or tea, green tea breed in Japan. And here, this one here is now the 2-minute brewing. So let's see how the taste is. Already in the nose. What is typical when you have a good concentration of L-theanine in the leaves is that you actually can have kind of this sweet, savory, sweet corn smell as well. There's a little bit of a slight glutamine, kind of slight also seaweedy tones. But mainly there's kind of this typical sweet corn. This is the kind of the most present flavor profile. On the smell, Very, very sweet, very fruity as well. So really going around this kind of sweet corn and driving a little bit or riding into more into the fruity part of the tea. And now let's have a sip. Now brewed it on a very low temperature, so around 45 to 50 degrees Celsius, which is around 130, 125 to 130 Fahrenheit. So very, very low temperature, just to bring out this beautiful sweetness. And this is nice, especially when you do a green tea at the low temperature. There you get the most of the L-theanine out, especially when you do a cold brew. So you just brew the tea with cold water for an hour. Then you will notice that you have a very strong sweet taste of the green tea. And this is mainly the effect that the solubility of L-theanine in cold water is quite high, and as soon as you go higher, you also have more of the caffeine which is coming out. And as soon as you go to maybe 70 degrees Celsius or 80 degrees Celsius or 170 Fahrenheit, there you start to extract also more the catechins. You also start to extract a little bit more of the bitter and astringent parts of the tea, also a little bit more of the chlorophyll, also a little bit more of this grassiness is coming out. So if you're going really, really low with the temperature, even if you do cold brew, or you go around 125, 130 Fahrenheit, so 50, 55 degrees Celsius, there you definitely very good on the sweet side of the tea, and then you really play with this umami flavor profile. And this is the theanine coming from the gyokuro leaves, coming from green tea. If you want to mix your coffee still with some L-theanine, what you actually can consider is that you mix your coffee with some matcha. This is my tip for all the coffee drinkers out there. Thank you very much. I hope you like this, and if you ever have a question, don't hesitate to ask us. We are happy to answer them. Bye. Have a good evening.